Hello, this is the very first Let's Talk Tuesday. So this is just a gift. I just want to know how I can help you to make the changes that you're looking to make in the new year. And not just this year, but going forward. So I'm going to do a little riffing and things that I've thought about that maybe you've also thought about. So, first of all, I guess I should tell you who I am if you're not familiar with me. I am a businesswoman strategist, which has evolved. And I help women elegantly navigate their time and their talent so that they can align their business and personal lives for greater impact. And I've been doing this work for over 25 years. So I've met a lot of women, and I always say sometimes the best teacher is learning from your own mistakes. So I think that as a woman of a certain age, um, I think that there are a lot of us, and I don't know why this kind of didn't strike me before, but one of the things that I think that I can honestly say that holds us together, because this is a journey and you're not alone, is that feeling of what am I going to be when I grow up? And I'm ready for me. It's now my time. It's now my time to do something for myself, to put myself first for a change, if not always, then at least sometimes. And part of that, like I said, is the journey. I mean, we start out as children. We go on to be another age where maybe we are parents. We're in relationships. We could be pet parents. And then we get to a point where there's kind of a pause in the sense of a lot of things and a lot of people move on, and we go, you know what? Where am I? And typically I think that happens when you approach 50, when you get over 50, it's kind of like, where am I going to be? What am I going to do? That I've always wanted to do. And so I think, it makes me laugh now, because when I came up with the title for my Facebook, I'm Ready for Me, it was about losing weight. I'm ready to really focus on myself and get healthy. But I think it also is a sign of the time that when we're ready for other parts, whether it is our health, our relationships, our lifestyle, a lot of things that happen. And so I happen to think, even though it's a time of shifting and that you may feel a little bit lost, I happen to think that it's an exciting time. And it is a time in your life when you are going to find that there are a lot of other women that are in there. So you're not alone on this journey. And I think that's some of the things that we think about. I feel like I'm alone. I haven't reached my goals, so maybe I'm not good enough. I'm invisible. People take me for granted. And so I think a lot of us, when we get to that point, think, I'm ready for me. I'm ready to do the thing that I was put here to do. And so it is important that it doesn't happen all by itself. All right. There are some things that you have to really make a decision to make something like that happen. Because if you don't set a course, then you're going to find yourself, just drifting through life. Not that your life has not been productive and responsible and wonderful, but to get that extra oomph, I think, that turns your life from ordinary to extraordinary, you have to kind of say, okay, where am I and what am I going to do? And in order to do that, you need a growth mindset. Okay, a fixed mindset is, it is what it is. These are the talents that I have. This is all that I can accomplish. But a fixed mindset says, all right, I can do more. I can learn more. And there are lots of ways of learning. You've got formal learning, like if you, get a degree or a certification. You can do informal learning where you, maybe you do a course online. Or you can do kind of what's called informal learning, where you just, you just research a topic and, you take away what you want to. And it doesn't matter as long as you're growing and you have that fluid intelligence, because that's the thing that's going to bring you the surprises and fill your day with anticipation and joy and give you a vibrant lifestyle. One of the things that sometimes I forget to say is that with a fixed mindset, sometimes you want a fixed or crystalline intelligence, and especially when you're in danger. If you say to a toddler no, you want them to stop. If you're in a crowded room and somebody says fire, you want to have, a pattern reaction to get you out of there. But to enjoy other parts of your life, you want to be a lot more open and available and see what's out there and put things together and see what it is that you can create with your past knowledge, and as well as, the new knowledge that you're getting. So I'm going to say hi to Andrea and see if she has any questions. Hi, Andrea. I always said it's really weird. I don't think I could be a secretary for the simple reason that I never learned how to type. So, that was, that's one of those weaknesses that I'm never going to get better at. It's not a mindset, it's a reality. Okay, so basically I was talking about that we're not alone and that we're on a journey, and that this is a natural part of this journey, kind of, coming to a pause where we want to have time for ourselves. And so my question to everybody is to think about what that is for you. And I don't know if, Andrea, if you've got a particular thing that you're ready for. Oh, okay, great. So, I said this, that if you're going to, jump into your expertise, that into your vibrant life, that you're probably going to have to make a change. So I thought about this because I thought about what I've been going through. And believe it or not, before you make a change, I think one of the things that you have to do is celebrate how far you've come. I think that too often we get stuck in the regrets, and that never lets us get to the dreams. So I think we have a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, and regret can be very painful. And I think it also can be a learning moment. But I think that the part that we forget is to say, look how far I've come. Look how far I've come in spite of. Um, and so that would be one of the first things. And then the next thing is to take a look at the things that you intentionally do well. What talents and skills have you developed along the way? What situations have you had that have made your life really good? And I think that, one of the things that I never thought about before is how important humor is to me. My life just is not the same when I don't take time to watch a monologue from a Tonight Show, or watch a comedian, or tell a joke, that kind of thing. So the first thing I would say is celebrate where you are. Think of all the good things that you've done already in your life, and use that as a springboard to looking at the things that you want to look at in the future, because you have to kind of look back a little bit. I mean, if you were in a car, you couldn't go from, a forward motion directly to reverse. You have to go through neutral. And so that's what we're doing. We're going and we're taking a look at things. And some of the things that you're really excited about may be things that you no longer want to do. Because you need to make room for the things that you are going to do. So the three things that I would say is, maybe there's four. I would celebrate what you've accomplished already. And I would say to myself, what are the strengths that I'm bringing forward to this new thing that I want to do? All right. And then I would decide, what am I willing to change? Where in my life am I willing to change things? And the challenge that I would give you now is, because you're at this certain age of life, take a look at the idea that you can actually blend your business and your personal life together. Come up with goals that are supported that support both. I don't know if that helped at all, Andrea, or whether that. Okay, so Andrea said, I always forget to celebrate. And I think we all do, because the first thing we think of is, what did I do wrong? And I think that's what we're brought up to believe. I mean, I think that when we look at problem solving, we tend to think, the first thing we tend to think about is, what did I do wrong? Or what happened and why am I responsible? And I think it's really important to know that we're all human. And we make mistakes, and we're not perfect. And one of the other things I think is that self-adjustment is a natural process that you need to go forward. And so making a change, or evaluating so that you can go forward, is not a bad thing. Okay. And so you don't have to have regrets. You don't have to beat yourself up about it when you're going through it. And I know it feels that way. So the trick is not to stay there and be miserable. I mean, I believe in mantras or short sayings that get me going or help me stay motivated. So one of mine is, when I first started losing weight, and for those of you, again, that don't know me, I've lost almost 200 pounds over about 20 years. Okay. And that's not, okay. So I was going to say, that's not the same 200 pounds. Okay. So when I first started, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It only matters how many times you get up. So that helped me a lot. And then I realized that it was important how long it took me to get up. So now I say, because if you start a diet, you shouldn't diet, but if you start a lifestyle change and you fall off the wagon and you don't start again for another year, it's going to take you a long time to get where you're going. But if you can, get back on the wagon in a week, in a day, in the next mouthful, okay, then you're going to get a lot better results. So now what I say, and you're welcome to borrow this if you want, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It only matters how many times you get up and how quickly. And it works for anything. I mean, sometimes when you have really bad disappointments or failures, it's worth giving yourself a day to be miserable. And then you say, okay, at the end of this day or the end of this morning, I'm going to, take a look at what I learned, and I'm going to pick myself up, and I'm going to keep going. And, you have to have a plan for doing that. Sometimes you can do it by yourself. Sometimes you need other people. Okay. So, because they have a different perspective. And if we could learn to be as kind to ourselves as we are to other people, we would be fine. But we are much harder on ourselves than we ever would be with somebody else. I mean, the mean things that we say to ourselves are amazing. The self-talk, the negative self-talk that we, give ourselves, besides the limiting beliefs, or I'm never going to be rich, I'm never going to be thin, nobody in my family is thin, nobody in my family has had a good marriage, whatever the case may be. I mean, you would never say to a friend, well, no wonder you're having problems with your marriage. Nobody in your whole family has ever had a good marriage. I mean, that would never even dawn on us. And yet, we don't have a problem saying that to ourselves. I mean, it's really terrible. We're awful friends to ourselves. So, celebrating is not the first thing that we ever think about doing. Even when we reach a goal, most of the time before, when we reach it, it's like we spend 2 seconds celebrating and moving on to what's the next thing. And I think just having that awareness can change the quality of your life, that you don't have to reach a goal, that you can celebrate how you handle the situation as you were getting to a goal. You can celebrate just a change in the way that you view things. One of the things that I'm working on, I've been married for a while, for over 40 years, but one of the things I'm working on is really showing my husband how much I appreciate all the things that he does. And because they seem like they're normal things, sometimes it's hard to remember to acknowledge them. So for instance, my husband brings me coffee every morning. I mean, it started probably over 30 years ago when I was pregnant and bedridden. And then it continued, and and it has continued to this day. And one day I said to him, you don't know how important this is to me. This is kind of an act of love to me. It's an act of intimacy. It just starts my day off really well, and it makes me feel loved. And to be honest, he looked at me like I had two heads. But he did, once he recovered, he did say thank you. And your employees are like that too. You have employees that are really good, that do a lot for you, and do more than you would ever expect them to do. And sometimes we just need to stop and say, you know what, I really appreciate the attitude that you bring to work. I really appreciate your creativity. We are a better place because you are here. I would really like to just spend more time with you doing some brainstorming on a project that you might want to do. We don't appreciate the good nearly as much and celebrate it nearly as much as we should. I don't know if that answered some of the questions, but it's definitely something that I'm thinking about in the new year, is as I'm making changes, to build in times to to be aware, time to appreciate the changes that I'm making, times to really take a look at the good things that already do exist, as opposed to, what's the bad thing that I have to fix. I don't know if that helped for Andrea and people that are listening to this on the replay. If you are listening to this in a replay, you can always send me questions, because just to let you know, I'm going to be doing this for the first 3 Tuesdays of January. I'm going to be doing it this week, which is the 7th, and then the 14th, and then the 21st. And then starting in February, I'm going to be doing a 5-day intensive. So I'll be telling you more about that as I go along. So I don't know if you had another question, Andrea, or if I've totally confused you. One thing that I will leave you with or tell you about, which is like a passion of mine, is when you're making a transformational change, an internal change, there's a process for that we don't normally um, realize. And typically what we think about is, I'm going to start something new. And the problem with that is that, our life is kind of a closed bubble. There's only um, so much time, so much money, so much whatever. All right. And so when you add something new to your plate, it's going to cause a certain amount of chaos and stress. And so the real process, or the process for a successful change, is first you need to go back and end something or make room for it. And again, that's kind of that appreciation kind of thing. This has served me well, but now it's time for it to go. And it could be what your activities that you're doing. It could be some of the people that you know that drain your energy and your time. It could be anything. Okay. And so you've made room to take on this new habit or to take on this new change that you want. And then you can start the change. Now, as you're changing, like I said, you can't go from reverse to forward without going through neutral, right? You go through, and Dr. Bridges, who came up with this model, calls it the neutral zone. And I'm here to tell you that it's anything but neutral, okay? It is when you feel really frustrated, when you feel discombobulated, that you are filled with chaos and discomfort. And so I call it the push-pull. You're pushing back to the old way when you're trying to pull forward to the new way. And so you find yourself, like, this way is easy, I don't want to do this way, that kind of thing. Or you find you go into some place, and again, I'm going to relate this to food. You go into some place that you've gone to for many times, and the first thing you do is think you're going to order your special, the thing that you always order there. And then you go, well, wait, I'm eating a different way now. So do you go ahead and order it because it's not that often that you come to this place anymore? Is it okay? I see my cat is walking through through my office. Okay. Do you order that thing because you don't eat it that often, right? Or do you say, okay, since I've started something different, I can make a change? And the decision is really yours. I mean, if it's someplace that you eat once a year, then maybe you go ahead and eat your favorite thing. Okay. If it's someplace that you eat, once a month, or you eat every week, then you need to take a look at, how can I make this better? Maybe you don't change the whole thing, but maybe you make it better. And so you're starting to push through to the new habits that you're having. And so that always goes on. I think that what people don't realize, especially when they're making a change, is, one, making this change, you are going to have discomfort. Two, there is always chaos in our life. The decision that you make is whether or not you're going to let chaos do you in, whether or not you're just going to merely be resilient and maintain, or whether you're going to take the chaos and make an opportunity out of it and really thrive. Okay? So that's a decision that you need to make, and you may have to grow into it. It may not, one decision may not get you there. The other thing is, there is no perfect time. There is no right time. You just have to say, I'm going to make this decision, and I'm going to do it now. It may take me longer to do it now because I have all these other things I have to finish up. But if I don't do it now, it may take me 5 years before I even get to this again. And so that, I think, is probably one of the biggest messages that I think people can relate to right now. This is the time. This is your time. You are ready for you. Okay? You will only grow and get better for making that decision to go ahead and do what it is that you put your mind to. And it will make you stronger. It will make your life more vibrant. If you can interconnect your goals, your body, mind goals, along with your business, personal goals, then it will you will be stacking them, you'll be anchoring them so that you can actually use them, because it affects all parts of your body, your life and your body. And so that's the kind of goals that you want. So if you look at like a lifestyle goal, what do you value in your lifestyle? One of the things when you're making a business plan is, it's one thing to make a business plan on paper, but how does that actually affect your lifestyle? Do you want to have to work every single day? Do you want to work every, 12 hours a day? Do you want a career that's got flexibility? I mean, one of the things that I love about what I'm doing right now is I can get on Facebook anywhere. I can coach people from anywhere. I can coach them virtually. I can, my husband's retired, so I can go places with him and carve out a morning and do some things that I want to do and still have time to spend time with him. I really never did a straight 9-to-5 job, and so I know that I couldn't do it now. So a goal that would require me to do a 9-to-5 job is not realistic. It's not the lifestyle that I want. I can't think of anything that would make me want to do that. And so as you're looking at the way you're going, you want to make sure that the lifestyle, the goal that you set for yourself, is going to give you the lifestyle that you want. It's going to give you the health that you want, the relationships that you want, along with your, the mission that you've got. All right. You want those things to be aligned. Okay. And sometimes we unknowingly set goals that do not align with what our desires are. It can be an accidental thing. I mean, in business, sometimes when a really simple example was, I was teaching a class in a factory once, and so they wanted to improve productivity. But in terms of improving productivity, they just said, we want more widgets per hour. They never said, we want more widgets, more good widgets per hour. And so what happened was the production numbers went up, but the failure rate went up as well, because they didn't think it through. So that's one of the advantages to being in a group, a mastermind, or having a coach, is that they can be one of the people that can help you with where you have blind spots. Okay, they can help you to say, okay, question you and challenge you and say, okay, if this happens, if you do get more clients or you do make more sales, more than you imagine, what are you going to do to handle that? What's going to happen on the back end? Now, I mean, no, that sounds like it's really common sense, but sometimes we don't think about that. We don't think about, how do we need to automate our systems? How do we need to build our teams? Okay. And how do we get support, whether it's in our personal life or our professional life? So anyway, that's about all that I've got for you. I hope that you will listen to this as a recording. I hope it will give you some ideas. But more importantly, I hope that you will join me for one of the next two Let's Talk Tuesdays. And again, if you can't make it live, because it'll be noon Eastern, if you can't make it live, you can send me questions and I will answer the questions then. And I want you to think about the things that you need to be successful, not only in 2020, but beyond, and how you can put these things together for yourself. I think the one question that I would say that I think is always important to me, and it's an easy one, is, what is the purpose? When I get ready to do something, I always say to myself, what is the purpose of this? So let me tell you about Let's Talk Tuesday. So the purpose of this is several folds. One, I wanted to reach out and meet some of the people that are following me and let people have a chance to meet me and get to know me, so that we could possibly work together in the future. So that's one. Two, I wanted to get used to Facebook Live. I am not the sharpest pencil in the box when it comes to technology, and I admit that. So I wanted to practice Facebook Live before I do my 5-day intensive in February. And 3, it's because it's a marketing thing. I'll be honest, it's a marketing thing. And that probably has always been my weakness, is that I have not done very well at marketing. And so I'm trying to do regular marketing, but marketing that is informational and of value. So I hope that I filled, I took care of the purpose, especially the part where I get to know you in the future and that I can answer your questions. And I just want to remind you that I will be doing this again on January 14th and January 21st. Please tell your friends, and I look forward to talking to you then. So I'm going to say goodbye. I hope that 2020 is going to be beyond your dreams. I hope that you will learn to celebrate and that you will learn to appreciate all the good things that you've accomplished in your life already, and know that there's a lot more out there for you. Okay? So I'm saying goodbye, and I hope I talk with you soon. Bye.